Hi, I'm Jason, a channel account manager on the AWS Marketplace team. In this presentation, you'll be provided with an overview of the AWS Marketplace channel programs and the opportunities those programs present for consulting partners like you. Whether you're a system integrator, a value-added reseller, a managed solution provider, born in the cloud, or any other type of partner, these programs are designed to help you help your customers take advantage of the benefits that are available to them when they procure and deploy software from AWS Marketplace. Before we dive into the channel program details, let's review what AWS Marketplace is by starting with the definition. AWS Marketplace is a curated digital software catalog that makes it easy to find, test, buy, and deploy software and services that your customers need to build products and run their business. In short, it's an app store that sells third-party commercial software solutions that are easily procured and deployed into your customer's AWS environment. AWS Marketplace started 7 years ago, and there has been a lot of growth since those first days. Today, there are over 1,400 sellers or independent software vendors listing over 4,200 software products on Marketplace. Beyond the numbers, what this means is the most popular software products from the most popular sellers are available today. AWS Marketplace makes it very easy to deploy software on demand. With just a click, you or your customer can deploy software into your customer's AWS environment. You can procure brand new software, or you can leverage existing on-prem licenses via BYOL or bring your own license. Another advantage of procuring software from AWS Marketplace is that purchases are consolidated on your AWS account invoice. This could be your AWS master account or your customer's account, and I'll go into more details on accounts a little later in this presentation. AWS Marketplace is available worldwide and deployed in all 18 regions. And in regards to the last two numbers, 170,000 active customers purchasing products that are driving 550 million EC2 hours every single month. Just about 2 years ago, those numbers were about a third of that. So this speaks to the growth of AWS Marketplace and how cloud marketplaces in general are transforming software procurement. With the world of software procurement changing, how do you as a consulting partner take advantage of this growth with AWS Marketplace? There are two programs available to help you. The Channel Incentive Program, or CHIP for short, enables consulting partners like you to earn 10% credit reselling software from participating sellers on AWS Marketplace. The second program, Private Offers, enables you to negotiate private pricing and custom terms directly with sellers and purchase on AWS Marketplace. Now let's break down each of these two programs. First, the Channel Incentive Program, or CHIP. CHIP enables consulting partners like you to earn that 10% credit just by reselling software from participating sellers on AWS Marketplace. The program is available to consulting partners that are also AWS solution providers. You must be part of the AWS Solution Provider program to participate in the CHIP program. Additionally, to qualify for the 10%, software products purchased from AWS Marketplace must be from a participating seller that is also in the CHIP program. The software may be purchased via your AWS master account, or the customer can purchase via their linked account, which is an account that's linked to your master account. And again, I'll go into more detail on accounts a little later in the presentation. Ultimately, you will receive an AWS credit memo that you can apply to your master account. So let's walk through this at a high level on the left side of the slide. You, an AWS consulting partner who is also an AWS solution provider, will purchase software on AWS Marketplace using your master account, or your customer will purchase via their linked account. Next, the software that you purchase is deployed into your customer's linked account. Following that, usage for that software is totaled monthly, and AWS will invoice the account for the purchased software. Finally, once AWS receives payment, we will pay the seller and also invoice the seller for 10% of the transaction value. Once we receive payment from the seller, you can apply a credit memo to your master account. Okay, so what do you need to do to get started to participate in the CHIP program? Step 1. As mentioned, you need to be or become an AWS solution provider. If you are not an AWS solution provider already, the website you see listed there is where you can learn more. And at the end of this presentation, you'll be provided with more information on where you'll be able to access this link and others. Moving on to step 2. You need to sign the AWS Marketplace Channel Incentive Program Addendum. This is required if you want to participate in this specific program, and if you are already part of the AWS Solution Provider program, you will have already signed this addendum. Finally, you need to resell software products listed on AWS Marketplace from participating sellers. So earlier I mentioned the Marketplace catalog currently has over 4,200 products from 1,400 sellers. A subset of those products are available through the CHIP program, and these are the current sellers participating in CHIP. This is current as of July 2018 and growing. You can access the most current list via the link noted on the bottom of the slide, and again, at the end of this video presentation, you'll be provided with information on how to learn more, including how to obtain this deck with clickable links. To better understand these channel programs, it's helpful to visualize how AWS accounts work, and specifically the relationship between master accounts and linked accounts. To help illustrate this, let's walk through a scenario where the consulting partner in the CHIP program is purchasing on behalf of their customer using their master account. In this scenario, you, as the consulting partner, can procure software via your master account and deploy that software to your customer's linked account. And again, remember, if you're participating in CHIP, this means you're also an AWS solution provider. Once you procure from AWS Marketplace, you deploy into linked accounts, which are your customer's account. Here you see one linked account to your master account. The linked account represents your customer, but you can have multiple linked accounts representing each of your customers, as you now see here. Now that you have a high-level understanding of AWS account types, let's walk through a CHIP program scenario where you are procuring software on behalf of your customer. First, you purchase or subscribe to a software product on behalf of your customer from AWS Marketplace using your master account. Next, the software is deployed to the appropriate AWS linked account, i.e. your customer's account. AWS tracks usage and will invoice you, the consulting partner, monthly. In this scenario, you purchase the software on behalf of your customer, so then you will invoice your customer. The customer pays you, the consulting partner, and then you pay AWS. AWS will pay the seller, and we will also invoice the seller for 10% of the value of the billed purchase. When AWS receives payment from the seller, we will issue an AWS credit memo that you can apply to your master account. So let's break this down with some easy numbers. If the monthly bill was $100, eventually you as the consulting partner would receive $10, or 10% applied as a credit memo to your master account. Now we'll review the private offers program, which enables you, the consulting partner, to negotiate private pricing and custom terms with AWS Marketplace sellers. This means you can negotiate a price that is different from the list price on AWS Marketplace. And this means you have the ability to negotiate a discount from the seller and can resell the product to your end customer with markup for your value-added services. Once negotiated, you and the seller are required to submit a one-page transaction request form, or what we often refer to as the TRF, to AWS Marketplace. The TRF includes details on the private offer terms, including the product being sold, the agreed-upon price, the AWS account number purchasing the software, and other relevant information. This information allows us to create a unique URL that reflects the terms of the private offer you and the seller have negotiated and agreed upon. Once the private offer URL is created and available, you can subscribe via your AWS master account and deploy this into your customer's linked account. Alternatively, your customer can deploy the private offer directly into an unlinked account. In both scenarios, the customer does not see the private pricing you and the seller have negotiated and agreed upon. Any consulting partner can participate in the private offer program. There is no requirement to be an AWS solution provider, and you do not have to link your customer's account to your AWS account. So let's walk through a high-level flow illustrated on the left side of the screen. You, as the consulting partner, and the seller, your ISV partner, agree to pricing and terms. Once we at AWS Marketplace have the details of the private offer via a completed TRF form, we will create a private offer unique URL that can be used for purchasing and deploying the software. Whether you deploy into your customer's linked account or the customer subscribes directly via an unlinked account, AWS will invoice the consulting partner based on private pricing and terms outlined in the TRF. You own the responsibility for invoicing your customer and paying the AWS invoice, retaining any markup that you have charged the customer. Once we receive payment, we will then disperse funds to the seller, whose software was procured and deployed from AWS Marketplace. There are two common scenarios for private offers when a consulting partner is involved. One is a consulting partner as the buyer, and one is the consulting partner in a more traditional reseller scenario. This slide walks through a flow of a consulting partner as a buyer. To start, the consulting partner and seller negotiate private pricing and custom terms, complete and sign the TRF, and submit to AWS Marketplace. AWS Marketplace will then create a unique URL for the private offer. Next, the consulting partner subscribes to the private offer via the AWS master account using that limited visibility URL. AWS Marketplace invoices the consulting partner based on the terms agreed to in the TRF. The consulting partner then deploys the software into their customer's linked AWS account. Next, the consulting partner invoices their customer. The price invoiced is negotiated by the consulting partner and their customer, but typically this is the price that you have negotiated with the seller plus markup for value-added services and your margin. The customer will then pay you the consulting partner's invoice, and the consulting partner will pay AWS Marketplace, again retaining the markup charge to the customer if any, and AWS Marketplace will pay the seller. So now let's take a look at another common scenario, which is when the consulting partner is transacting in a traditional resale mode. Just like the previous scenario, the consulting partner and the seller negotiate private pricing and custom terms, complete and sign the TRF, and submit to AWS Marketplace. We will then go ahead and create a unique URL for the private offer. Next, your end customer then subscribes to the private offer using their AWS account. Remember, the price you negotiated with the seller is not visible to the customer. The software is deployed into the customer's account, and then AWS Marketplace invoices the consulting partner based on the terms agreed to on the TRF. Next, you, the consulting partner, will invoice your customer. The price invoice reflects whatever was negotiated between you and the customer, but again, this is typically the price that you negotiated with the seller plus markup for value-added services or margin. The customer pays the consulting partner's invoice, and the consulting partner ultimately pays us, AWS Marketplace, again retaining the markup charge to the customer if any. AWS Marketplace will then pay the seller. So let's review both channel programs, the Channel Incentive Program, or CHIP, and the Private Offers Program. The CHIP program is a resale-only program. Consulting partners must be an AWS solution provider, which means you are authorized to resell AWS services. Private offers are a little bit different. Consulting partners can be a reseller or a referrer. We didn't cover the refer scenario in this presentation, but in short, this means that the customer buys directly from the seller and you are paid a referral incentive from the seller. In both scenarios, there is no requirement to be an AWS solution provider. With CHIP, the incentive is 10% of the value of the transaction. It's paid to you in the form of a credit memo that you can apply to your master account. For private offers, the incentive is negotiable. It depends on what you've negotiated with the seller, i.e., the discount you've received from their list price and ultimately how much you then charge your customer, including markup for margin. The payer is ultimately your customer in the resale scenario we reviewed. You invoice the customer pays you, and you will pay AWS, retaining your markup if any. In the referral scenario, the payer is the seller, and payment depends on the referral incentive you negotiated and agreed to with the seller. Deal registration is not required for CHIP. If you are participating in CHIP and you are reselling any product listed on AWS Marketplace from a CHIP participating seller, AWS monitors those transactions and provides monthly reporting to you to obtain your CHIP credits. For private offers, deal registration is required in the form of a TRF, that transaction request form, which includes information specific to that opportunity. To learn more, contact the AWS Marketplace Channel Account Management team at the email alias you see on the screen there. This alias is actively monitored by everyone on the team, and we'd be happy to provide you with more information on the programs reviewed in this presentation, send you a copy of this slide deck with clickable links, sign you up to receive our monthly newsletter, and answer any other questions that you may have. This concludes our brief overview of the AWS Marketplace channel programs. Thank you.